So reading through the life of Solomon, it is hard not to be impressed by his formidable resume of accomplishments. Whether it was building palaces, temples, architectural gardens, his knowledge of botany or geology or whatever it might be, he seems to surpass everyone. His organizational leadership as well seems to excel as he strategizes the hospitality of the king's court throughout the year, and has each of the tribes contribute 1 month worth of food and spices and livestock, etc., etc. And then he's got these vast armies of soldiers, he's got chariots, he's got thousands of horses. It really is an endless array of accomplishments, and the wealth was just unprecedented in any age. Along with that, we're told that Israel enjoyed the peace and the prosperity of his good leadership. As we're told, everybody lived a happy life, and they got to sit in the shade of their own fig tree and eat the fruit of their own vines. And so just this idyllic, lovely picture of Israel as a nation at last at peace. So these really are the wonder years for Israel. There is no other time in which they're at peace with all the tribes and all the nations of their borders. There's no other time where such wealth and prosperity is in grand abundance, and it really is quite an achievement. However, interestingly, Jesus makes mention of Solomon in the Sermon on the Mount, and it's quite an interesting little aside. Jesus is explaining the care and attentiveness of the Father upon the children of his kingdom. And he makes the comment that even Solomon, in all of his splendor, all of his magnificence, is not dressed as beautifully as a field of grass with its flowers, and yet the flowers rise and then they fade with a breath. So somehow Solomon's grandeur has a little reality check here, that it's certainly not forever. And we know that Israel's peace only lasted really for 1 generation, and then with the advent of Jeroboam and Rehoboam, etc., that whole drama, the kingdom basically cracks and dismantles again. But it struck me that the most prosperous and peaceful and truly flourishing state under the old covenant doesn't compete with what is promised to us in the kingdom of the new covenant. I think our inheritance that we now understand we have in Christ, that which has been imparted to us both presently and eschatologically by the Father through the Son, is beyond all the wealth of Solomon. It is beyond all the wisdom of Solomon, all the great achievements and accomplishments and awestruck grandeur of the state of his kingdom really pales onto the sidelines when it comes to apprehending the beauty of God and the generosity of God through the kingdom in the new covenant, in the giving of his Son, so that all who receive his Son, so that by faith as we look to him, all that is his becomes ours, and that we are even supernaturally and mysteriously seated with him, with Christ, in the heavenly realms with the Father. So that truly is a grander inheritance, even in comparison to Solomon. So yes, we can prove that Solomon was wealthier and no doubt wiser than the rest of us, and yet somehow in the new covenant in Christ, with the promise of his kingdom, we are in some ways wealthier, and also through his Spirit even wiser, understanding the generosity of God in an extraordinary and personal way. So just some reflections there on the greatness of Solomon, and yet the limitation of his greatness in light of the greatness of Christ. Till next time, peace.